Welcome to the Go Low Auto Podcast. I'm Jason.
Steve, how's it going?
It's good to be back with you here for our podcast. It's been a little while.
Really good to be back. Been very busy, but not too busy for Go Low Auto. So,
Well, we were
what's
just
going on?
talking. We were talking before we hit record, and we decided to hit record because we were just getting into the topic. We'll start with a little bit of auto news, and
All right.
found an article that said that Lyft is now offering people discounted package deals in order to leave their car parked in the driveway. And this made me think of something I heard recently, a statistic that younger millennials are not buying cars or even getting their license for that matter because of Uber, Lyft, and all of the companies that are in existence now. So I thought this was a really interesting move by Lyft.
Right, and I'm trying to figure out, after reading the article, it doesn't really say how they're going to know if you parked your car for a month or why they care anyway, but I guess it's part of the social experiment to see, if people can do it or will do it. Um, it's not the cheapest thing, but we were just talking before before recording that they're smart because the plan that they have is to basically allow somebody to work a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and have about a little less than 20 rides available after that for weekend stuff and whatnot.
Exactly.
I
It was 60 rides for
Yeah,
$400.
right, which is probably the most realistic plan.
Yeah.
I
Because they had another plan that was for 30 rides, but I mean that's going to get you. That's only going to if you work, 5 days a week. That's only going to cover half your month in terms of round trip commutes.
Right, unless you work a job that you take mass transit, take a bus or a train, like if you're in
Right.
a city, or if you got like friends and family that you're just bumming rides from constantly, and you're super
Right.
cheap
But
and that's cool.
it's an interesting concept because, like you just said, is the goal of this to get less cars on the road? Is this for traffic reduction? Is this for emissions reduction? I mean, it's interesting, but it's not even really clear what the ultimate goal with this is going to really be.
Yeah, what it looks like to me on the surface is that the goal is to sell a commodity without having a commodity, which is really smart on their part because they're using your car, your labor, and they're basically leasing somebody else's car. Whereas if you went to Mercedes or Honda or whatever and you got yourself a lease, you're talking 3, 4, $500, whatever it is per month after tax. What this is doing is it's basically they're acting like their car company XYZ, and they don't have any cars. They're using other people's cars, but
Yeah,
they're
but
getting the
and
money.
also for on the consumer end, you don't ever have to worry about maintenance. You don't ever have to worry about accidents, insurance, breakdown.
Parking,
Four
right?
hundred dollars. If I were to venture, that's probably close to what the average person pays a month for a newer lease with insurance. It's probably
Right.
somewhere in the $400 a month range. So this is in direct competition with that, and there's no depreciation. You don't get anything out of it in the end of it. You don't own anything. But I feel like a lot of people get. I mean, does anyone own their car anymore? They're
It's
all
similar.
financed or
Right.
leased, and you get a new one before you pay it off anyway.
It's similar to leasing in that respect, where you don't own a product, you don't have any equity invested, and for some that's fine because there is a certain amount of depreciation that you're losing money anyway. Day one,
Exactly.
that's happening, even if you buy the thing straight out. So, leasing and buying, that's been the age-old thing. And there is a happy curve, which I'd like to maybe next episode kind of explore. Where, for example, if you go buy a brand new 7 Series, your first year is going to be rough. You're going to lose
Oh yeah.
a lot of money.
Yep.
That's why leasing that car makes a lot more sense than buying it.
Absolutely.
Conversely, like with a Honda or something,
Yeah, an Accord or a Camry might not make sense to lease them because they're going to hold their value way better than the
right.
7 Series or actually
Exactly.
pretty much any high end car is going to fall on its face the first year.
Right. So I see this as a way for Lyft, and I'm sure Uber is right behind them because,
Yeah, of
everybody,
course.
if it works, they're going to copy it.
Yeah,
I see it as a way for them to make money, as a subscription based, which is actually kind of nice because they can plot out projections. They can figure out, well, we have X amount of people involved in this. They're making their payments. We know what our company's now valued at based on this, and it probably helps if they're going to have if they're going to go public or not. I don't even know if they are public, to be honest.
I think
But
Uber went public. I'm not sure if Lyft did.
I'm really not
Good
sure, but it would
question.
help. Yeah, their shareholders would be very happy about it to have a factual, steady stream, of income like that, rather than the fluctuations where sometimes one month has a lot of traffic and the next month may not, and it's hard to project. You know.
And one thing I think about with this is it's interesting to kind of think ahead a few years. And I mean, let's say this takes off. If statistically speaking, less millennials are getting their license, even what is this? What does this do to the car market? How does this affect manufacturers' bottom end? Are they going to start manufacturing cars that are more, set for being a Lyft or an Uber? Are they going to be designing in
Right.
mind of that? The passenger experience versus the driver experience. Because if
Right.
this takes off, this could have a huge effect, and they're going to have to adapt in a way where they still sell cars, but they're going to be selling to a completely new type of market.
That is one thing. Also, I think, truthfully, what should have happened anyway, is there's too many cars. There is too many different models, and it's gotten crazy. If you think back only 20 years ago, and I'm a Beamer guy, I know them well. They had like the 3 Series, the 5 Series, the 7 Series, and I think
And they
they
had a
had
few,
maybe.
few variations of each.
Right, they had like maybe the Z3 was around 20 years ago. I'm not probably, I believe
Yeah,
so. But I remember when the X5 came out and it was like a truck. Oh my
yeah,
God, a new model from BMW. It was like a big deal. And
yep.
now
And
it's
now,
like,
how many
right,
models do they have? I couldn't even tell you.
of the X series alone, you've got the
X1,
X1, 3,
X2.
5. They just pressed, I believe it's called the X7 now, where it's
There's an
going to.
X2 as well.
So here we are, where the X series alone has more variations than the entire branded 20 years ago.
Yep,
There's too many cars out there. That's
yep.
all R&D. That's what's driving the price crazy. The average car is like 30 G's now, and
And
that's
the
insane.
price is crazy. I saw on Instagram someone posted an old Mazda RX-7 commercial from like 1988.
Right.
It might have even been 90, and
Hmm.
it was brand new. It was 10,950.
Oh,
Now, granted, but it's like that was a sports car. That wasn't just a basic car.
right, right. That wasn't their cheapest Mazda. You know
No.
what's funny to also, I don't know how, I think it was Doug DeMuro was doing a video on the Integra Type R, which was like my dream car when I was in college. And like now I'll laugh at myself. I'm like, yeah, it was 200 horsepower front wheel drive, like,
Right.
dream a little bigger. But I
Well,
was
for
a
back
basic.
then, that was significant. 200
Right.
horsepower was the benchmark.
I love the underdog. I love that it could keep up with the V8s back then. And
Yep.
then you could have leased that car for like $150. And like now it's just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like I don't know what you could lease like a little Kia, toaster oven on wheels for like $150, but that's about it.
I leased a Toyota Corolla base model stick shift, stripped
Hmm.
down. I think I was at like 170 a month.
Which right there, I mean, people
I
are
mean,
paying
it
that.
was zero down. But I guess if I give them a little money, but even still, 150 is barely doable. And back then, you could get a very significant car for that much money.
Right. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I don't know. I think it's making jobs for people, which is nice. Um, will it be more or less traffic? I think it'll be a wash. I think the necessity to go to and from, that won't change.
Right.
People need to. It's just the
Yeah,
way that
people are always going to have to commute. I mean,
and the same
the only
amount.
thing that's
It's
going
not
to
going
change
to go
that is
down.
technology and companies allowing people to Skype in or to work from home, and that's happening a little bit, but that seems to be kind of slow. People are stuck on the traditional,
Right. Going
work
to a
model.
build.
Yep.
Right. Which in some respects it makes sense. In most, honestly, it doesn't. And it's so smart for a company. For example, like JetBlue was one of the first that allowed people certain ends of it to work at home. And
Right.
their purpose was, okay, we're starting out. We don't really want to expend a whole lot of resources in a building and rent and everything that goes with it. So why not let our employees work at home? It's cheaper for the company, and people, who maybe have a kid or a young kid or whatever, it's more economical for them. It's win, win, win. You
Yeah.
know, and I
And
wish
I
that
think
more
that's the only
companies.
thing that'll significantly affect traffic if
Oh
more
yeah,
companies adopt that. But
absolutely.
I tend to agree. I think even if people are parking their car in the driveway, they're still getting in a car to go somewhere. So traffic, in theory, isn't going to improve or really
Now,
change for that matter. I don't think.
this won't do that. If this, and I hate the idea of self-driving cars. Selfishly for myself,
Right.
I would never get one, but I love the idea for everybody else who doesn't care about driving or following rules of the road or staying right or,
Well,
being courteous.
there's argument there that self-driving cars, once they're fully, once they've reached their potential and they're communicating with each other live,
Hmm.
that it'll significantly help traffic because
Right. That's
of
where I'm
the
going
fact
with
that they
this.
can work in unison and they can work together. And in theory, they'd be able to travel at higher speeds.
Right. It's like the hive mind mentality where they all
Exactly.
know where they are. They
This is the
know it's like
intention.
Waze, how
Yep.
that algorithm works, and I think that it may be a good thing for those commuters that are they're in their car, they're mindlessly going somewhere, they're putting their makeup on, or they're eating a sandwich or something. Like these people are done with driving. They don't
Yep.
want to, they don't enjoy it. They shouldn't be forced to enjoy it. Fine. Let them have an option.
And there's
You
clearly
know,
a lot of people because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the article said that what was it? There something like 150,000 people have signed up for this tentatively or something
yeah, for the program with Lyft.
with Lyft.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean
So,
that's a big. I mean that's a lot of small cities right there.
yeah,
I mean,
there's definitely interest. I think that people look at it like, okay, so I parked my car, I'm not paying for gas. I could stop my insurance. Right there is a big chunk of that fee. So why
exactly.
not try it?
Yep.
First of all, I like the idea of a subscription-based service like that, where even if I, enjoy driving my car, maybe on weekends I can totally give that responsibility away. I can go to Manhattan and not
Yep.
worry about parking. I can have a few beers or like seven and just be fine
Well,
and
and
not
that's
worry
that's
about.
something that's a huge factor, just regionally for us because we live in New York.
Right.
I mean, I know people that drove to work from Queens to the city, and if they didn't find parking, because you got to go to work, you can't circle the block forever, they would
Right.
have to stick it in the lot. And the lot by us on the Upper East Side, they had a deal if you were in before a certain time and out before a certain time, but that
Yeah.
was $14 a day, and they were the cheapest.
Yeah.
So it's like if you sign up for a program like this, even if you use it only for commuting and you keep your car for local stuff on the weekends by
Right.
you, I mean,
Right.
this could be huge for some people. The
And it could
convenience is
be
definitely there.
also what it could be is it could be good for the guy that has a commuter job and also wants a sports car and can't swing two cars, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. That's
Now
valid
it's like,
too.
well, all right, let me get the fun car for the weekends or when I feel like driving, and let me have the option, you know. So I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea, you
It's
know.
definitely intriguing. I'm going to be real curious to see how this does. I don't
Right.
think the article didn't say exactly when they were starting, I don't believe,
Hmm.
but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah. I think it's a winner. I think it's got our current technology written all over it. It's got our current social, you know, people will adapt to this. They
Yeah,
want this.
absolutely.
They're happy about where things are going with the tech that we're finally using our smartphones for smart things
Right.
after years and years of not. So it sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'll agree. And then
So
from there, we'll
how's
move
the
on to
how's
I got a topic that I've been thinking about, and I'm very curious to get your opinion on this.
uh-huh.
Speaking of Doug DeMuro, was watching his review of the i8,
Oh, I didn't see it yet. I didn't see
and
it.
I
Don't.
didn't realize that I know a lot of car manufacturers are guilty of this, where they play engine noises over the speakers interior of the
Yeah.
car for the
Yeah.
driver. The i8, for those who don't know, is a hybrid car and it's a three-cylinder. I think it's a three-cylinder out of like a European Mini. And they have where the driver side exhaust tip would come out, there's actually a speaker there that
Oh
plays
no.
engine noise externally as well.
Oh
So it's like
no.
it was one thing when manufacturers were doing this for the driver because it's like all right, they're trying to enhance the driver experience. It's harder to get engine noise inside now because everyone wants the inside cabin so quiet. Like I could see why they justified that. I don't think I can get on board with pumping fake sounds out a speaker.
Now, the only thing that I'm going to give them credit. I'm a BMW fanboy, whatever you want to call me. I'm going to give them credit. I'm going to say that their design team did that so that they didn't have to do where it's going. For lack of a better word, the governing agencies are going to eventually mandate that these cars make a certain noise because electric cars, you only hear tire noise, and if they're going slow, you might not even hear that. So if you guys Google like what the proposed sounds are, like they sound like the Jetsons cars, the flying saucers that they
Right.
had, and it's so ridiculous that I'm like, if I seriously have to listen to cars making that noise, like I just don't know if I want to keep on going.
See that
It's too
that
bad.
that that's a valid justification, but it's like that they're trying to make it sound like a supercar, and I'm
Well,
like,
well,
there
if
was
you have to
also
pick,
clear intent there to, because it
mhm.
does not. And the i8 isn't a supercar, even though some people wanted it to be. It's
I think
not.
it's more of a sports car. I don't know
Exactly.
if I'd give it that title.
Yeah,
It's quick,
that
but
might
it's
be a good
not.
buy in a few years because they're falling on their face in terms of value. They're not holding
Oh
value
yeah,
at all.
yeah. Well, and the thing is, long term, I think you better get an aftermarket warranty
Oh
because
yes.
yeah. And I'm not a guy that's afraid of owning BMWs like exotic stuff. I don't care. Like I've had two M series, M5s, whatever. They've been bulletproof, really good cars if you could just take care of them. But the
Right.
electronic stuff and the hybrid stuff, I don't know it,
You're
so I'm
not
afraid.
going to be able to touch that in a garage.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Until it's more prevalent, I don't know if I want to get my feet wet with that without some kind of safety net behind me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm a guy that'll wrench on anything. I don't care, but I don't want something where it's going to give me a software problem and say, red X, like you can't do that. And it's like, okay, like, now
Yeah.
what?
So so on the other end of the spectrum, let's say that we can see that they're trying to do it for a safety standpoint for exterior sound because they're so quiet. What about the interior? Because I've always been on the line with that. I don't know where I fall because they're pumping in more engine noise into the speakers, and it's like part of me gets it, but then part of me is just like I don't want to hear it if it's not real. Because
So,
in
yeah,
interior, it doesn't have to exist because there's no safety reason for that. You can have silence inside.
I think the way that this works is the same way that it works when I want to be earlier for work. So I set my clock a few minutes, to show that I'm late, even though I'm not.
And then you get
But if
used to it,
I,
and you
right, and if I know it, then I counteract it. So
exactly.
if,
You go, oh,
if,
I
but
still have 5 more minutes.
right, if BMW was able or smart enough or whatever to keep that a secret, and not for any other reason than the fact that like you'd get in and be like, wow, this thing sounds good. Like if ignorance is bliss and like you didn't know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
I think every car manufacturer is guilty of it. I think any
Uh,
sporty sedan you buy is doing this, where they're pumping engine noise through the speakers.
and truthfully, what I would like is this: if they're gonna go that way with it and say, look, you can either hear the sound of the engine or not. I would like the option. I would like for them to say, okay, you could use it because it's got the speaker and microphone set up and everything, and it's set up perfectly for active noise reduction.
Yeah,
So if I had the option to hit a switch and make the cabin pin quiet, I'm cool with this. Or if I want to just be loud and make noise and be obnoxious,
I
like
agree with that as well. And also, I think I'd be more on board with it if they gave you the option of what it sounded like. Like if you want to drive around and you want to
right,
make your car sound like an F1 car,
right, or
there's clearly the
download
capability.
exactly Chevelle SS from the '70s,
Yep.
or anything, an Edsel. I mean, steam powered car. Like I don't know, just let people. I'm sure Tesla will do that. And they should.
And if they do, they'll probably add it as an Easter egg. Elon
Yeah,
Musk wants to add little features like that people don't know about. That
he'll do it.
that to me would be cooler, but it's just I guess it's one of those. It's like it's the automaker's biggest secret that everybody knows is that they're doing it, but
Mhm.
everyone just kind of ignores that it's happening.
Yeah.
Like I've
Um,
heard people talk about it, obviously, but manufacturers are not advertising that as a plus. They're not like, oh, we're pumping the sound so it sounds like a better driving experience. Like they definitely don't want you talking about it. Like it's not something they're going to market.
and they could spin it so easily and market it and say, look, you can pick, because you look at Mercedes Benz, you can make the interior blue or purple or white or green, which I think is the cheesiest thing in the world, and I hate it. But if they're doing that, why don't they just let you change the sound of the car?
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of that, Mercedes does one of the things that I can't stand the most in the current
Oh,
new car.
I bet you
You
I could guess it.
what?
Are you gonna say the illuminated like Mercedes star on the?
Yep.
Oh
I
God.
cannot describe to you how much I hate that. It is the tackiest thing. And when I was an auto adjuster still, the first time I saw one of those come in and it had to be replaced, they are quite expensive.
So that
I
just
mean,
means that there are not only are there tasteless people out there, but those tasteless people have money.
yes. And that emblem is very. If you break the grill on one of these newer Mercedes, it is very expensive to fix.
Oh God, it would look better broken. I hate it. I think
I
it's
hate it so
the
much.
tackiest thing in the world. I
I
don't
don't
know
know where
why.
Mercedes got that from because that's something that I feel like Ricers would have done when we were in college was have
They
like an
did.
LED Honda logo.
They had that. I know, and it was dumb back then. Like I felt guilty doing it then. I
But
think
at
I
least it
had
was
them.
aftermarket choice made by very few
Oh,
in the
right.
grand
Like
scheme of things.
teenagers.
This is like I don't know if you can get a newer Mercedes without it because they all seem to have it.
We
Now
got to
imagine
talk about something
and
else. Get
that
sick.
might even be an option and it's probably in all their top end packages. So whether you want it or not, it's probably there. Because you
Uh,
know they probably tack on it's Mercedes. They probably charge you $1,800 for the light up. That's probably like $1,800 option to get the. I don't even know what they name it.
it's probably yeah. If it's part of like one of the other packages, like tech package or something,
Yeah.
it should come with a pair of pliers so you can just cut the wires through it.
Oh, it's terrible.
Whoa.
It's terrible.
We got to talk about something better than
All
that. I just we got to change the subject.
right, so let's go to something that actually does sound fantastic and doesn't have a light up emblem.
Yeah,
How has Porsche ownership been? How's
it's
the Cayenne
okay.
going?
It's been good. We're not really driving it a whole lot. Like our kind of commuting situation changed, so we're not really driving it a ton. But it's been very bulletproof. I mean, really, we've only had it. I don't know, maybe 5 6 months or something.
Right.
Um, it's it's thirsty. It likes gas, and the tank is big. I think it's got 25 gallons or something. Don't even quote me, but your fuel bill of 93 octane is coming to like $85. So,
Right.
and gas is kind of expensive on the island where I'm at, but it drives nice. It sounds good. It
Sounds
seems like
amazing.
good. Yeah,
That
you know
was
what?
one of that was one of the better cold starts I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, that exhaust. It's a Fab Speed. It's a true catback. Kind of loud. But as far as reliability, I don't think you're going to get a more reliable car than a regular 4.8 liter V8 NA, made by Porsche, which is really Volkswagen. You
Yeah.
know, they're defending a name, their reliability is there. So if they were breaking down left and right, they're not big enough to, be okay with that.
No, not at
Whereas
all.
like BMW is huge, they don't care if they've got a few unhappy customers. Porsche is supposed to kind of have that upper echelon, name to it. So like they kind of have to have good reliability. But it's been very good. We haven't had it in the snow yet because it hasn't snowed yet, which is okay with me. Um, we shall see. The tires.
Are you putting it has all seasons. Are you gonna put winter tires on it or
So the wife drives it primarily. She was already thinking about what kind of wheel she wants to put on it for a second set. So she's way ahead of me on that.
so
And
she's on board with a separate set for winter tires?
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And maybe what I'll do, I'll take these off and have them refinished or whatever. There was like a little curb rash and not from us, so that
Right. Yeah, that was minimal. I think I saw it. It was very minimal from what I remember.
yeah, it's tough because they're big wheels. I think they're 21s, so they're lower than whatever curb you're going to pull up next to. And it's hard. You make one little mistake and that's a lot of money.
Yep.
So but yeah, the car's been good. I like it a lot. I tell you the truth, I would consider selling a few of mine and getting that if she didn't already have it. You know, because we can't have two. That would just be totally weird.
No,
So,
well, I mean, you could get the Turbo S, but still, it'd be the same thing.
but
I
then
mean,
she'd be mad.
it'd be a little redundant.
Right, right. So what's the point?
So, do you have any plans on swapping anything out? Is the M5 on the chopping block?
Okay, so no, I did a bunch of stuff to it the past couple of days, just preventative maintenance, because like in the winter I don't really drive it much. So I did like all the
Yeah,
fluids.
500 horsepower rear wheel drive, that gets tricky.
not a really good choice.
Yeah,
Not my worst choice, but so I'm gonna keep it. I think it just looks like a good car. I don't know, other than the fact that it's an '06. Why just change it because it's old? Like I don't, if I look at it, it doesn't look old. It's not giving me problems. It's taking very minimal, care to keep it good. So why be in a rush to go get something new? That's really not how I play it.
I prefer that body style over the new M5s.
The new ones are good looking. The
Yeah,
last generation is actually really subdued, which is kind of going back to the E39, E34 roots, and I
yep.
like that. Um, the one I've got is definitely a shouty car. It's very obnoxious, whatever.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's special too though because it's a
right,
V10.
right, exactly, and,
I
and
mean,
that's why.
the reality is BMW is never going to make another V10 M5.
No,
It's gone.
right,
The market doesn't allow it. Um,
right.
it's just
No one is.
it's done.
I mean, other than Lamborghini, other than
Yep.
maybe Ferrari,
Yep.
that's it. So you're owning something that you literally can't get anymore.
Yeah.
So for me,
I mean, honestly, the V8s are they're going to be gone at some point too.
right, they're
The
becoming
power that they're able to make with twin turbo V6s now, I mean, in
right,
terms of fuel economy, in terms of emissions, it's just that's what's going to happen. And then
right,
as these hypercar technology with these hybrids trickles down,
right,
most people probably who aren't into cars wouldn't realize that the word hybrid doesn't mean Prius anymore.
exactly.
I
The
mean,
performance
The
is
Porsche 918 is a hybrid,
exactly.
and it set a record on the Nurburgring. It's like,
Look at Formula One cars; they're all
yep.
hybrid V6 turbos.
And as that technology becomes more accessible and cheaper and easier to incorporate into regular cars, V8s might be gone at some point. V10s are definitely gone except for supercars. I mean,
Right,
V10s aren't even in hypercars anymore, really. You look at like Koenigsegg, it's a V8, twin turbo V8.
exactly. Just for packaging, for unit size, everything else, So that car's staying put. And truthfully, I'm kind of come to terms with it where if it does need something major, if it does need transmission, where everybody's afraid of this car, they're afraid of the SMG, they're afraid of the rod bearings. I've had it for 5 years. It's been perfect. You know,
It's an old single clutch, right?
it's the original SMG 3, which is a single clutch. It's not the DCT. The DCT is nice. It's fast. It makes up for the lack of fuel economy by just rattling off gears quick. But I don't mind it. The way that I drive and everything else, you really have to drive it more like it's a manual with your right foot. When I shift gears, if I'm downshifting while braking, I do have to heel toe. Otherwise, it kind of bucks.
Right.
And if you really do drive that like a manual, it rewards you. It rewards the extra attention. And I think that that's why it got such a weird, bad rap from the original. It was the first thing like it. There was
Well, you
nothing
figured at that time frame it was probably only a couple years before that where Ferrari went to the F1 transmission that everybody hated,
right, and that was the
and
same time frame. Maserati, same thing.
Lamborghini had they had their early e-drive, like even the Aventador had a single clutch.
Yeah, the e-gear.
Yeah, and
Um,
I was watching a YouTuber named the Stradman who just got an Aventador, and
mhm.
so he was in traffic, and he's like, "What you do in traffic?" He's like, "You wait for the cars to get away from you, and then you pull forward and stop, and you do it again." Because
That's exactly how you do it.
got it. It's kind of the same idea. You got it. You can't drive it like an automatic.
No, and that's why guys were going
You can
through.
jump in a modern Huracan or even a
Mhm.
later gen Gallardo. You can drive those like a normal car.
Right. You
They've
know.
gotten there now, but those early single clutches, they. I remember my friend had an M3.
Hmm.
I think it was an '05, so probably around this, yeah, the same generation as yours.
Yeah.
And it was weird because it's like you couldn't drive it like an automatic, and it wasn't fully manual. It was, and especially
Right.
for back then, when the first time I drove it, I was like, "This is funky."
Yeah. Yeah. And it
That
really is.
transmission in
It's incredible.
particular was violent. The first time I hit the first second shift, I thought I broke it, and I felt terrible because there was a loud thud behind me, and he goes,
Oh
"No,
yeah.
it's normal," and I was like, "That doesn't sound or feel normal." It
And
shifted
they've been
hard.
and they right and they've been shifting like that since 2005 and they're still
Yep.
doing it.
Yep. It was
So
such a weird experience because I let up and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I just blew up your transmission. What are you talking about?"
didn't you feel that?
I was like, "I'm pulling over now before I owe you money." He was like, "No, that's normal. You're fine."
Yeah. So as far as that car is sticking around, the Nissan, it's sticking around. I
Keep it
got nowhere
forever.
for it. I got no reason to sell it. It's a weird car. It's like a purgatory. I don't really have any reason to keep it. I don't have any reason to sell it. I enjoy
Had that
driving it.
car for almost as long as I've known you. You got that
Exactly.
about I don't know 2 years after we met, so
Right. So why get rid of it now?
it's
Because
a
I have,
legacy car at this point.
right. Exactly. Um,
Stick shift's not going to exist in a couple years. Someday you
that's
can
another
teach your
thing,
kids how
right?
to drive stick. They'll be the only ones that know how to drive it.
That's another thing. You can't be stolen except by like me and you.
Yeah,
Um, my old ML truck is still kicking around. I'm actually pitching a couple dollars at it now. I'm going to put two new front upper control arms in because I'm getting a little clunk over bumps. That thing, I just build it for reliability. I drive it to and from work all the time, and especially in
you've
the
had that thing
winter.
for a while too.
Yeah, I got 135,000 on it now or something. Um, I'm keeping it at least until 155,000 because Mercedes gives you a high mileage award, which is hysterical, and I
Do
want
they
it.
really?
When you hit
I've never heard
155,000,
about that.
right, you just basically send them a picture of your speedo or whatever, and
Or do you get like a little plaque?
dude, I don't know. You get whatever it is. It's just funny, and I want one. So, there's a form you fill out, and you can get it online. It's if you Google search it, there's a PDF. Um, but I almost was thinking about getting rid of it because I found a G-Wagon out in the middle of the country, and they had it listed at a very, very attractive price. It was in the low 20s for an
What?
'05, I think.
Oh, five? I
No, I'm
like
sorry. You know
wagons.
what? It was an '02. It was a 2002
Which
G500.
which variant? Which motor?
It was a G500. So not the 63, not the 55. And you know
Right.
what? I think I would get the 500. And the reason
That had a V8, right?
it was a V8, it was the same 5 liter that went in the E500 and the
Yep.
ML500 and the
Yep.
CL500. What I'm getting at is that I looked on eBay. That motor with like 60,000 miles on it was going for like 800 bucks, full long block.
Right.
So I could now buy this car. It had 130 on it. If I just drove it to till the engine stopped, I could easily just yank the motor out and put one of these things in. They're everywhere.
Exactly.
So that's the motor to get. If you're going to get a G-Wagon, the only thing on that car that will ever give you a problem would be the engine because the whole thing is
Unless you can
chiseled out
afford it.
of slate.
If you can afford it, you get the V12 because you always get the V12.
No, no, not in that condition. You don't always get. Maybe if you just going like this all day, that's not me.
No, no, you. The only person that buys a V12 G wagon is someone who already has 37 cars, and they don't know what else to buy. No, the
Right.
V8 would be the way to go, and not the 6.3.
Like, what's the most expensive one that I could possibly purchase?
Yeah,
Um, so I
because it's not an
almost
absurd
blew
enough
out.
car with a 6.3, and
Yeah, I almost
it's
actually.
already an absurd vehicle.
No, I'm pretty sure you have to be in the Russian mob to get the V12. That's
And
what.
apparently, like I saw on I think it was a Motor Trend show where it was head to head. They did that
Oh,
against I forget what, but it's so much heavier up front that like everything about it is worse. Like the
exactly.
handling is worse. Off-road capability is actually worse because of weight distribution. Like,
Right, and then the torque is too much torque.
yep. And
So
the only place it gets driven is in Beverly Hills.
they
Like
should
with
have
way
they
too
should
much
have
speed.
put right. I saw that video too. They should have put that motor, that 12 cylinder, that should have went in the 6x6.
Yes,
How do you mess that up? That makes sense
the
now.
6x6s are ridiculously amazing.
Right, and that would have made the distribution more correct because
Yeah,
they're tail heavy because of the extra, bigger
whole other,
cab. Right.
whole other axle.
I'm like just full of ideas of how to spend money, but I just don't have it. So, it's all good.
It's fun to
But
pretend.
you know what? I didn't want to go look at it. I was going to drag you there to go check it out. We were going to drive the thing back, but first of all, it gets like 15 miles to the gallon. It would have been cheaper to ship it back because it was
Yeah.
2,000 miles away. Second of all, I keep watching videos. I know I should just go out and just drive one, but for what I need it for as like a 45-mile commute each way thing, it's not the vehicle. It's just
No,
not.
not the right one.
And I love how it looks. I love everything about it. That would have been the right one because in the 20s, how do you go wrong? Even it
Right.
needs a motor. I can do that. But do I want it? Yes. Would I keep it? I don't think so.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't keep it for as long as you've had the ML.
No, because that thing, it's cheap and it just goes and it gives me about, on the highway, I get like 21 miles to the gallon, which whatever. I'm not really trying to save gas anytime soon,
That's
but
that's not really that bad though. I mean, that's
no.
about what I'm getting in the G35.
And I can cruise at like 75, 80, and the thing handles and stops and does everything well. I don't think a G-Wagon would feel so great up there,
Yeah,
and the wind noise and everything else, and
because it's literally a brick with zero aerodynamics.
right. So, but anyways, yeah. So I kind of let it pass. I think I'm okay with that decision for now. I think where it's gonna go, I'll probably replace it with the X5, but not the M.
Not the
The No, you know what? Okay, if funding was unlimited, fine, whatever. I'm not finding the M's with low enough mileage, and the 4.4 liter V8 one, it's got 440 horsepower, and
right.
almost as much torque for a lot less money, for like 10 grand less,
Yeah, because it doesn't have
15.
an M badge on it.
So for a daily driver, maybe having one normal car isn't a bad idea.
Right.
One just a normal daily driver, quiet, easy to drive,
Less
automatic.
things to break, less expensive
Right,
parts, more
right.
availability. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And again, no, the V8 one with that kind of horsepower, that's no slouch. You're sub 6 second to 60. You're like 5.5 or something
Right.
with SUV. So it's got enough go when you need it. You got the
Yep.
big cargo capacity, and it'll handle nice on the highway. It'll be a highway car.
No, that makes sense.
But that's down the road. I gotta hit
Yeah, you
155,000
got
first.
20,000 miles left.
Right, that has to happen. So so that's that. How's the G35 treating you so far?
It's good. It's thirsty too, but I think that's more right foot induced.
Hmm.
A couple little things to clear up. I'll have to get it out to the island and on the lift. Got
Yeah,
a little clunk here and there. I think I want to, just because I don't know what was done to it before, I want to do plugs, filter, just the
definitely.
basic maintenance stuff.
All right,
And
bring it
then
by, man.
I'm also thinking for Christmas, I'll probably end up getting myself a cutout. So we'll probably have to do that while it's up there, because
Absolutely.
that's only logical.
Oh, of course. Go from straight pipe to quiet with a switch.
That's
Yep.
pretty much what I need right now. And we'll
Yep.
see how much it trumpets with a cutout, because VQs can trumpet a little, but I'm a
Yeah.
fan of the way VQs sound. I know apparently since I bought it, everything I've seen is people trashing on the sound, but I've always loved the way they sound.
Yeah, whatever. Everybody
Yeah.
teach their own. I mean, it's a V6. None of them sound, what V6 sounds good, you
Not,
know?
not many. Straight sixes make cooler noises, but a lot of them have turbos. That's why.
Right. So,
But I think that's probably a pretty good place. We can wrap it up there.
all right. Till next
If
week. Hopefully, I'll be here. It was
Yeah,
good joining
definitely.
you again.
No, this was good, and I've got new stuff. If you want to check out shopgoloauto.com, Golo Auto on IG and on Facebook, give a follow, leave a comment, join the community, and I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, and on the Instagram page, we're doing featured rides, so people, viewers or subscribers can
That's right.
basically,
Yeah, Feature Friday.
yeah, get a little spotlight on their cars, and it's everything. It's everything. I think the last one was a Miata, right? Was it the last guy?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah, we've had actually the last one was a Jetta. We had the Miata. We've had IS 300.
you know
Some
what? I
cool stuff
think
out there.
I think what we need next, we need an exotic. We got to throw one of those in there. So
Okay.
if anybody's
If
on
you
the
have an exotic
Instagram,
car, DM me.
yeah, for sure. Honestly, and like all joking aside, like that would definitely spice it up. And then next week, we'll do something else. But
Yep.
I'd say we're due for something Italian. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, we've covered. We've got Japanese. We've got German.
Right, right.
Italian would be good. So anyone who has a supercar of any kind, anything that's cool like that, send me a DM.
There you go.
All
All
right.
right, guys. Pleasure
Talk to
joining
you
you again.
later.
I'll see you next week.